Welcome back, everybody. Thanks for joining us on the program This Week in America, website thisweekinamerica.us. Joan Cimaglia worked for corporate America for a number of years and enjoys writing about fantasy fiction in her spare time. Her stories and poems are inspired by the simple beauty of her natural surroundings and the subtle humor of everyday living. Her children's book, Nightclub on Elm Tree, is written as a poem in 4-line stanzas. The story of a memorable character, and a number of them, of a special secluded place high up in the elm tree for private members only. It's a secret world and thriving entity that exists right outside your door. Joan Cimaglia, author of Nightclub on Elm Tree, with us on This Week in America. Hi, Joan. Welcome to the program. It's great to have you with us.
Hi, Rick. Thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
This is really an entertaining book, and whenever someone writes poetry, I have even more admiration for what they're going through to do that. That's always seemed like that'd be very challenging to do that. Let's start off by talking about the challenges of doing a book in poetic form like this.
Yes, it is challenging. It's to maintain that rhythm and to make sure that you don't break it, and that's the most challenging part.
And you do an excellent job with that. The book flows so nicely. Where did the name for this, the title, come about? How did that come about?
Oh, that's interesting that you should ask that. Actually, I lamented over the title. I didn't know what to do with the title. And then all of a sudden it came to me. It just hit me. And I said, you know what? I could have fun with this. And it just seemed right. And that's actually where I kind of put a little bit of a dark twist to the end, because it suited the title. It suited, I wanted something that would tie into the title.
Yes, so the name of the book, Nightclub on Elm Tree, Joan Cimaglia, our guest on the program. The book's available at Amazon, BarnesandNoble.com, at bookventure/bookstore.com. Get all the information on the book there as well. When did you develop this interest in writing? Did you read a lot as a child?
Not when I was young, but as I got a little older, and towards late elementary school and middle school, I started to read more and more, and then in high school more, and then I was an avid reader by the time I was in college. So, but I loved the Nancy Drew stories, and of course, then I graduated on to Jane Austen and the Bronte sisters, and so I was always, those were my favorite authors. And I developed a love of writing when I was more in college. I wrote for the newspaper, and then I just went from there.
When did you decide to write this book? And talk about the idea. It's basically, you describe it, you just walk outside your door, you look up in the tree, and you come up with all sorts of ideas. Was it that simple? How did you come up with the idea for the book?
When I was younger, I remember just being very intrigued by the tree and listening. I would wake up in the morning and I'd hear the little noises. And I remember one night I was going out with friends, and I was back in my early 20s, and I remember thinking, I was sitting outside waiting for my friends to pick me up. We were about to go out to our clubbing and have our fun. And I was listening to all these noises, these great noises, and I was watching these birds go into the trees, and I'm saying, hey, you know what, they're having their own little Copacabana up there tonight. I wonder what's going on in that world. And the thought, it was just a recurring thought that, as I'd wake up in the morning sometimes and I'd hear these noises, or at night, and it's just like, what's going on? There's a whole world up there. So that really inspired me, and it stayed with me for years. And then one time I just started writing. It started out as a small poem, and then it just evolved, and I built on it from there.
Joan Cimaglia, our guest on the program. The book is Nightclub on Elm Tree. Who is this book designed for? It's a children's book. What ages was this written for?
Well, that's a good question, because I didn't know.
Because I enjoyed it, and I'm not in one of those categories anymore as well. So maybe we shouldn't put specificity on it. This book is for anybody who enjoys an interesting reading book.
Yes, I think it's just for all ages. And I could see adolescents enjoying it, I would hope. But I really, at first I thought, gee, I wonder if I have an audience. I don't know which age group this could be, suited for. But, I thought, it could be for anyone.
And that's exactly the case
and
as you're reading it. And if you're reading it to children, reading it with children, there are a lot of areas for discussion. What do you hope the audience takes away from this? There are a lot of, well, let's talk about some of the memorable characters, because you really have a number of characters. And after I finished reading the book, Nightclub on Elm Tree, I realized that, boy, if you look up in the tree, there are a lot of different species and characters up there, aren't there?
yes, there are.
Yes.
And like I said, well, all walks of flight.
Exactly. What do you hope that we take away from this? I mean, there are areas that we can interpret differently. Like I said, if you're reading the book with a child, even if a child is reading it, we'll get different interpretations. What do you hope we get from reading the book?
Well, just to teach children and adolescents that there's acceptance of all walks of life, and that there are, just to approve of, tolerance of people and compassion, and that's basically what I mean, you could look at each of the groups of people, the groups of characters in the tree, and how they're all different, but they all have their place in life, and they all make a difference.
Yeah, it's amazing as you read the diversity. Let's talk about some of the characters. Miss Spider sort of does a narration through most of the book. Talk about her, because that sort of the focal point as we're introduced to all the other characters.
Yeah, I figured that the spider, just narrating the story would be kind of fun. She just hangs out and just watches it all and laughs at all the characters, but yet, she's still there, hanging in there.
Yes.
and she's the veteran of the tree that tells the story to Mr. Owl, and just about all the characters, and she just puts her little spin on everything.
Yeah, it's interesting because as Mr. Owl, he's a newcomer. He comes into the tree, and she's sort of doing a play-by-play of all the different characters that are introduced in the tree.
Yes, and he's kind of a mysterious character. We wonder what's his gig here.
Yes.
Why is he even there? So that it opens up. The whole idea is to open up children's imaginations, let them go with it, interpret it the way they wish to interpret it, and we can bring them to many dimensions.
Joan Cimaglia, our guest on This Week in America. She's author of the book Nightclub on Elm Tree. The book is available at bookventure.com/bookstore. It's, of course, available at Barnes & Noble, as well as Amazon.com. If you go to our website, thisweekinamerica.us, you can link on directly to information on Joan's book. The book is very well written, and illustrations are a big part of this, and the color is really just breathtaking. I mean, it really adds to the storyline. Talk about that and how important you felt that was for the illustrations to really complement the words in the book.
Well, the illustrations were, I wanted them to make a statement, and a lot of that was, I was from my direction, but I did have an illustrator that there wasn't. I didn't illustrate the book, but I wanted each character to have its place on its own page, so you can get the idea and feel of each character.
And they really did an excellent job in doing it. Well, yeah, and the colors are nice too. I mean, they just sort of jump out at you as you go through the book, and suddenly you're like at the last page, and it's like, I really want more. Will there be a sequel to Nightclub on Elm Tree?
I would think so. I'm hoping. It's a thought. So that's where I'd like to go. That's my thought.
Well, tell me about the process of writing this. You talked there are challenges to write it in poetic form, the 4-line stanzas that you did with Nightclub on Elm Tree. Talk about your process once you decided to write the book. How difficult was it to get started and get to the point where, okay, I think I have something here now that people would like to read?
Yeah, I started out, like I said, it was a short poem, and then I just said, it needs more. It needs more. And then I just had so much fun with the characters because there's so many, and you learn so much as I reading up on different characters and what they're about, and I tried to make it educational as well. And so there was just so much. I said, wow, I could have gone on and on, but I know I had to keep it limited if I wanted it to be a children's story, because you want it to be too long. And so it just was so much fun to do. It was a fun project because it was an educational experience for me to learn about the different research and what's behind each character. And it just and of course I put my own little spin with the social messages, and how you can give just give life to these characters and do what you want with them.
I mentioned some of your interested in your surroundings, the subtle humor of everyday living. Are you a people watcher? I have a feeling you watch and you sort of make mental notes of what you see that may come back in your writing at some time.
Oh, yes. Actually, it's just, just people are so interesting, and you can watch them and just, everybody has a story.
Exactly. And the research is very easy to do, and it's free to do. So it's right out there, for the taking. I know you like long walks as well. Does that give you time to really think? And maybe a lot of this book, Nightclub on Elm Tree, was sort of written mentally as you're walking.
Oh, yes. A lot of my ideas came from walking. Boy, if people could see, were looking out the windows and watching me, they'd probably say, this crazy lady talking to herself. But yes, I do. I get, it energizes me. It does, walking. It transports me to another place, and I get that's why I love to walk, because I get my ideas for writing.
The book was dedicated to your mother. Talk about the role that she played in shaping you, who you are, and your love for learning and reading and writing.
Yeah, well, both my parents are very encouraging and supportive. My dad passed, but my mom is still here, and she's she's 89 almost, and then my dedication to her was because, well, she's always taught me one of the things I will always be grateful to her for is her patience, and taught me, although I still need to work on that, but I admire her for her patience and her encouragement. And now that she's forgetful a lot, and she's got a lot of anxiety about certain things. I think that goes with age.
Yes.
Well, she has this thing about the trees. Oh my God, the trees are going to fall on my house. The trees are going to fall on my house. So that's why I put at the end, have faith in the trees. They're here for a reason.
That's interesting. So that's sort of a tribute to Mom that you put at the end of the book,
Yeah.
Nightclub on Elm Tree. What was it like when you picked up that book for the first time? And here's your thoughts. Now suddenly they're printed. Other people can read these, beautifully illustrated. What was it like when you had that moment where, wow, I actually am holding my book in my hands?
Yeah, it was kind of surreal. I thought, wow, did I really do this? This is you really see the finished product now. And it was very rewarding. It really was. And I said, never be afraid. Just, it turned out to be something, and we'll see where it goes from here.
Well, yeah, we got a couple minutes left in the program, and that's interesting because there's so many people that feel, I have in me something I want to say. I think I could write a book. You obviously went through that and then came to the realization that I'm going to go ahead and do that. What type of encouragement would you offer somebody that's sort of on the fence? It's like, I would like to do that, but boy, that's a lot of work. And of course, there's that self-doubt that creeps in that I'm not sure I'm a writer. I'm not sure I can do this. What would you tell them if they're really interested in doing something like you did?
Oh, just do it. Don't think so much. Just do it and have fun with it. And you'd be surprised. And be around positive people that are going to, and honest people.
Yes.
And that's what I was very fortunate. I was a little embarrassed at the beginning. I didn't want it because I'm used to, I work in a different, working in corporate America, you're kind of jaded in some ways. So I needed to do this for myself. I needed to break out of that mold, and because I have a creative side to me that I couldn't express in my work. So I was able to do this as an outlet that lets me unleash all that creativity that's bottled up inside of me.
We alluded to Yeah, and we talked before about maybe a sequel, another book. What, are you working on anything right now?
Well, I am actually. I'm working on another little storybook about a cockapoo, actually. So, so
Ah,
that's we'll see where that goes. And yes, I write all the time. I just even if it doesn't go anywhere, just to write down your thoughts, jot them down. You never know, and that's exactly how this evolved. I just started jotting down little just lines, and it just say, hey, I got something here. You do. That's why I would encourage people, if you just write, and you'd be surprised how it develops and turns into something.
I get the impression in listening to you and the tone of your voice, this really was a rewarding experience for you. You really enjoyed the process, didn't you?
I did. I really did. Because it's something I always wanted to write about, and it was something that stayed with me for so long, and an idea, and finally, it came into fruition, and that's rewarding in itself.
If you read the book with your children, if your children read the book and talk to you about it, you'll never go outside and look at a tree in the same way that you have before. It's like there's a lot going on up there, and I think they're probably talking to each other and probably having a good time up there. The book is called Nightclub on Elm Tree. Joan Cimaglia is our guest in the program. The book is available at bookventure /bookstore.com/bookstore. The book's available at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, giving you a lot of information, and you can find all of that at our website, thisweekinamerica.us. Joan, a pleasure having you on the program. I really enjoyed the book. An excellent job with this. We look forward to having you back to talk about the new book you're working on. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you, and have a great day.
Thank you. The book, once again, Nightclub on Elm Tree. Joan Cimaglia, our guest on the program. Of course, information available at our website, thisweekinamerica.us. We're back after these messages. Don't go away.